Good evening. I now call the August 17th, 2026 City Council meeting in order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Good evening. Welcome. Sorry, a couple minutes late getting started. We don't have any announcements or proclamations, but we do have one very important presentation for the police department. The police swearing-in ceremony. Chief Gebhardt.
Yes, we have several new hires come back over the last year or so, we can now come over and see, put face recognition to the council and see you guys and see them. So you ready? Start where? On base. How's that?
Okay, moving on to council committee reports. John Weingart will give the finance committee report.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have a few items on the agenda that the Finance Committee recommends for approval tonight. Item 7B on the agenda, and also item 8, 9, and 10. The only addition I will add, we've got some, as usual, good news from our accounting firm Forvis that audit our financial statements for 2025, and we, as always, have an unqualified opinion, which Lisa, great job to your team, and puts us in a real good position going forward. So great to have an outside firm give us an unqualified opinion on our audited financial statements.
Okay, thank you, John. Moving on to department reports. Monica Heltz, the director of the health department, has put together the health department report, and it is available online. On to number 7, the consent agenda.
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion by Pete, second by John. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes. Okay. Next on the agenda, number 8, Resolution R081726A, a resolution authorizing the city controller to appropriate additional public safety funds to the city of Fishers municipal budget.
Thank you. For the record, Lisa Bradford, City Controller. If I can, we can talk about items 8 and 9 together since they're kind of interrelated. One is the additional public safety fund, and the other is the criminal investigation fund. And both of these are additional appropriations related to a modification of the interior police department related to creating some more working space for them to be able to do their job more efficiently and effectively. These funds were identified as being able to be used for these projects. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from council? We will have a public hearing. Okay, I'll now open Resolution R081726A for a public hearing. If you wish to speak, come to the podium, address the council. All right, seeing none, I will close the public hearing.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Pete, second by Selena. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. And then you talked about 9, but do you want to say anything else or any questions before we have the public hearing on R081726B? Anything else to add, Lisa, before? Any questions from council? We'll open a public hearing for the resolution. If anyone would like to speak? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Pete, second by John. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes. Go to number 10, Resolution R081726C, to appropriate additional sewer operating funds to the City of Fishers municipal budget.
For the record, Lisa Radford, City Controller, so this item is related to the appropriation out of the sewer operating fund. This is being
Any questions from council?
I had a question. At the finance committee, we had talked about having a push buttons and also like a changing table for one of the stalls out there because we were making everything more ADA compliant.
Yes, so we'll take a look at getting the push button and the adult changing tables at each location installed in addition to this as well.
Okay.
We'll
Thank you.
retrofit that, yeah.
Any questions? I'll now open a public hearing. If anyone would wish to speak on this topic. Seeing none, I'll close the
Motion to
public
approve.
hearing.
Second.
Motion by Pete, second by Selena. All those in favor? say
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. All right, economic development, number 11, resolution R081726D. Request to approve confirmatory resolution for patch development.
Hi, Reed Bitter, Economic Development. Apologize on slide but council passed a third quarter resolution and public hearing related to this item back in June. So as a reminder, patch development desires to construct a 22,000 square foot office building on 9786 Masters Road. So it's just west of the airport, just north of 96th Street. And it would locate its new permanent headquarters and operational hub for development on site. Company plans to hire 5 to 10 new employees over the next 5 to 7 years and retain their current 13 employees at that site. Full investment in the project will exceed $7.3 million. Patch development is proud to call Fishers its home, and it's excited for further investment in the community. So in accordance with the project agreement and for a declaratory resolution, city staff requests approval of this confirmatory resolution. And that project agreement was a 5-year, 75% real project capacity.
Any questions from council? So I'll now open resolution R081726D for a public hearing. If anyone wishes to speak, come forward. Seeing none, I will close the
Motion to approve.
public hearing.
Second.
A motion by Pete, second by Tiffany. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. All right, next on the agenda, number 12, ordinance 072026. A request to create and add chapter 120 of the Fishers Code of Ordinances establishing designated outdoor refreshment areas or DORAs within the Nickel Plate District and the Fishers District.
Read it again.
Present. Excuse me, what's your name? I'm sorry.
Reed.
Reed. Thank you, Reed. Tell me again what the changes from first reading are on the operating hours.
Predominantly these hours, they were set at, I believe it was 10 a.m. to 11 p.m. And so, we had some commentary and feedback from council members that the weekday hours seemed a little lax. So implementing 14 to 10 p.m. would not be appropriate while maintaining the weekend hours at longer operational hours.
Thank you.
Did you get any feedback on condensing the hours on Sunday? I think 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. is quite generous for Sunday. I think something closer to noon to 8 p.m. is a little bit more appropriate for the amount of traffic that we have in the downtown area on Sundays.
I didn't in particular on Sundays at first reading, but that's something we can take a look at. The ordinance, we can implement changes once the ordinance is passed. That's something we can look at.
I think the Sunday hours are too generous.
I had a question too with so food trucks, would they be considered temporary vendors, or how do the food trucks
Yeah, so
work?
they'll be able to sign up as a temporary vendor prior to their event. We'll set up a smart sheet that they can say, we want to sign up, and they, as a temporary vendor, they have to select a date, which we will then send to the ATC that has it's just a one-page form that we send to them and get their designation. So it'll be a similar process to any new businesses that want to sign up if they're not a part of these original 14. It's a one-page form that we help submit to the ATC to get that designation.
Okay, thank you.
So just to be clear tonight, council members, you have a couple options here. One, obviously voted as it stands today with these hours included in the ordinance, or council member, if you wanted to propose an amendment to that ordinance, you could do that now if you wanted to and vote that up or down based on Sunday hours. Otherwise, if you vote it tonight and it is as it stands today, we would have to bring it back to council for an amendment at a later date. So it just depends on how strongly you feel about it. Our team doesn't have strong opinions about this one way or another, other than the maybe slight confusion it could happen during communicating hours. If we have like 3 different sets of hours, people may have difficulty remembering that, but that's easily overcome as well. So whatever you guys decide, I would just tell you have kind of 2 options here tonight.
I will say, I have concerns about shortening the Sunday hours. At first glance, I'd be like, yeah, but what about Sunday when they have an event at the event center? And it's there later, and people want to walk from one of the restaurants and take their drink and walk back towards the event center, and it's 8 o'clock. If we don't have, if we condense that Sunday hours down, I think that we're limiting, especially, I wouldn't have so much trouble with it in the downtown area, but limiting those Sunday hours when I know that there are events going on at the event center on Sunday is something I would pause about, because I think people will want to have their drink and walk back to the event center and take it with them.
So, yeah, so we could entertain a motion to approve it as submitted, or a motion to modify it, as the mayor
And
said.
just because we approved it, doesn't mean we can't come back and change it after we have a measurement period and see how it works.
Always have that opportunity.
Yeah,
I'll make it to approve as it sits.
I'll second.
A motion by Pete, second by John. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes. I think if we could, let's take a pause. Mr. Mayor, if might be appropriate to give a flood update. Apologize, didn't do that at the beginning.
I'd just like to thank you for continuing to send the information out that we were sharing with all the residents because of the concern of drinking water, et cetera, et cetera. So thank you very much for keep pushing that out. That was very helpful. Thank you very much.
There's a lot of info that's get started during those time frames. We want to make sure we have our information out.
Are there any infrastructure concerns, maybe as erosion or anything that you've seen in other areas here?
All the water is cleared off of our public infrastructure at this point. Our public works department walked all the roads, looked at all the culverts. So if you're thinking about like the Hazel Well, that is a very, very once in a generation unique set of circumstances on the Hazel Bell Parkway where we are literally, the White River is literally rerouting at the moment to a port. That's a highly unusual situation. But for commuters, you should expect the Hazel Bell road to be closed for the foreseeable future. It's a significant infrastructure project, and right now you have millions of gallons of water rushing in the area that you're even trying to get an assessment of the damage. Our parks at White River, Heritage Park, have both been walked through and documented. Limited damage in both of those parks, thank goodness. And yeah, so we're all operational and with little damage.
So thank you. I just want to commend you and your staff for, you know, the speed at which you did this. It's just incredible. It was incredible to watch, and I just want to say great job.
Appreciate that. I mean, you watch our fire and police, they were everywhere. And then I will tell you that one surreal moment, I mentioned this in the press conference yesterday, and Ed was there and Elliot as well. We were standing on the bridge on 116th Street. There was a 500-pound or 500-gallon propane tank off gassing. You have 30-foot trees floating down the White River. And then you looked over to your left as you heard noise, and there are horses coming out of the Cornwall side and running down 116th Street. So it's just one of those moments where you're like, this is a really surreal environment. But again, kudos to the team. We handled business and handled it well, and you know, just proud of the work that these guys do.
So you feel good about Heritage Park and White River Park, and probably won't have to ask for FEMA help there, or no?
We're going to document everything, and if there are any erosion or any issues, we lost a boat motor on Saturday during the rescue operations. We ran into a marina and bought a boat motor so we could be up and functional to continue rescue operations. So one of our staff members in our controller's office has a lot of experience with FEMA and state reimbursements, and this is exactly what she does on Release's team, and so we've already ramped up all efforts to document everything and anything that can be reimbursable.
Super. Well, sounds like we got lucky compared to some unfortunate people.
Absolutely, and what I like about our fisheries mentality is when we're having a good day and someone else isn't,
Yeah.
we're not afraid to throw in regardless of who they are and go help them wherever they are and whatever they need.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda, number 13, ordinance 072026B, request to amend Chapter 91 of the Fishers Code of Ordinance regarding animals.
Good evening, council. I'm Whitney Walker, Assistant City Attorney. This is the final reading of the changes made to Chapter 91 of the Code of Ordinances to implement best practices regarding the conditions in which animals can safely remain outdoors. There was a premiere in the section numbers from the past ordinance that did not match the section numbers posted to American Legal. I explained the additional changes made at the last reading, but I'm happy to go over this again if you like. No changes were made following first reading at the July City Council meeting. We respectfully request that council make changes.
Okay, questions from council? Go ahead, was that?
No question. Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion by Tiffany, second by Pete. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion passes. Thanks. All right, next on the agenda, item 14, ordinance 081726, amending Chapter 71 of the Fishers Code of Ordinances.
regards to sidewalks and trails, the ordinance requires a permit if someone wants to put a tent, a booth, a table, anything large that would impede pedestrian traffic. I do want to make a few adjustments to that for second reading, to put in some guidelines as to whether that could be approved and denied, and just make sure that we're covered from a constitutional standpoint. The ordinance does give the police department the ability to ticket for these violations, and the ticket amount is just $50 per violation. These are the questions you have.
Have
Questions
first
from
reading.
council? First reading, okay, thanks. Okay, next on the agenda, number 15, ordinance 051826G, rezone of 11.54 acres from R2 to PUDR for a 23-lot for-sale, single-family residential neighborhood known as Buckhaven.
Good evening, for the record, Ross Leary, Community Economic Development. As mentioned, this first item is ordinance 051826G, consideration of a rezone for the new Buckingham neighborhood. This is 11.54 acres located on 131st Street, 11798 and 11842, each 131st Street. Proposed 23-lot subdivision by Pulte Homes. This is coming before council back in May. There was a neighborhood meeting held on June 11th by the petitioner. And we also began the annexation process at our July meeting. We had planning commission on August 5th, which had a favorable recommendation for council. And we're back tonight for final reading and then writing the annexation. Wanted to show this is part of our future land use plan. This area calls for suburban residential, which land use is primarily single-family detached residential, as shown here, as well as the adjacent properties. Here is the overall site plan. This is incorporated in the PUD, and some elevations that are included as well. This is not come before our PUD committee. Staff like to do that after we see approval from council. These are all side load garages. Part of our UDO is not prepared yet for side load garages. So that is one of the items that they are seeking the change from. Again, here you can see the 23-lot subdivision, cul-de-sac with 2 sub-streets, activated open space there along 131st Street, and a typical 3-car garage site plan there. With that, I'm happy to bring up our brand manager, Pulte Homes, to go over a couple additional items. Good evening, for the record, Rex Raymond, Pulte Homes, 11595 Meridian Street. Ross did a killer job trying to prepare everything. I went for you with additional details. I think I'll probably stop at this slide here just to show a bit of context in the area where it's on the street from all the school campuses. And the remainder of the items I think were touched on very well. So I won't go into the site plan or the comprehensive plan. You saw a few of the home elevations on the previous slide. And then just kind of show you some lifestyle photos of some interiors in the homes, and then of course some of the floor plans as well. So I will be brief, and I'll be here to answer any questions you have.
What's your side setbacks?
There's a minimum of 3 feet, 3-foot side yard setback, and there's an aggregate of 14 feet.
And our ordinance is a minimum of 10.
Questions from council? There was some questions there just on some of the drainage through there. Is that worked out?
Yes, so we had a neighborhood meeting, we talked to some of the neighbors, actually on Friday morning, after all the rain. A lot of the rain was, a lot of the rain was populated south of 131st Street. There's a small triangular shaped pond just east of the Fort Collins Drive, which is the way to look there. But on the north side of the street, very, very limited ponding at all. We did have a neighbor meeting. There were a few folks to the north that were in attendance, in addition to the larger lot people to the east and west. We're going to continue to work with those people regarding making sure the site is properly graded, so that we're drained appropriately as far as landscaping and preservation.
And 131st Street will be well-equipped to handle that as well.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Pete, second by Tiffany. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
All right, motion passes.
Thanks, Rex.
Then number 16 has been withdrawn on the agenda. And then I'm going to turn it over to Tiffany for an item.
Moving on to item 17, 022026C, consideration of a rezone of .83 acres from the Drive Planning PUD to the Citizens State Bank PUD to allow for a bank with common address of 13562 East 116th Street.
Thank you, Ross. Looking at economic development, as mentioned, ordinance 072026C, request for Citizens State Bank PUD. This is a .83 acres located on 116th Street, 13562. Citizens State Bank is requesting a rezone from the existing Drive Planning PUD to a new PUD for a single-story, 400 square foot bank. First reading was held here at council back in July with a public hearing. Planning Commission favorable recommendation for you tonight, and then proposed final reading again here tonight. Wanted to provide some context that was asked at Planning Commission as well as the last council. So you can see here the property that is in question is highlighted in blue. You guys have been part of this conversation in this area. So Warren Dentistry, which is that one shown in green, was approved as a PUD with C1 conditions back in 2022. That site was provided full access, and there is minimal signage additions in there, but essentially they were allowed all of the UDO standards for signage, with the caveat that reversion and lettering would be required. The next one in this area is Mental Aid Grove Salon. That's the area shown in purple. This was rezoned C1 with conditions. You can see there from access standpoint, it is a right out due to the median. Also, their signage is all based on UDO standards. And then the area that we're talking about tonight was zoned Drive Planning in January 2024. That was zoned PUD with C1 uses. In that language, there was a right out proposed, or a pork chop, because there's no median in front of there. And they also had limited signage, one freestanding and no wall signs in there. Just want to provide that context and history of this area. At the last council, there was discussions around the commercial low impact overlay district as well as the commercial low impact district. So again, those were approved by council in September of 2024, so that was after the Drive Planning. Essentially, what the commercial low impact district did was we found properties, essentially orphan properties along our major corridors. We identified them that when and if they came forward for rezone, that the CELO commercial impact district would be our starting point. And you can see there on the right, we had limited uses, height restrictions, floor area, requirements of buffer, architecture was to be residential in character, side or rear parking, limited lighting, reduction on signage, and as well as reductions on hours of operation. So again, context for this area. Dry planning was not included in the overlay district or the low impact district because it had already been rezoned prior to you guys approving this. Wanted to share with this, this was the site plan that was shown at first reading back in July, and the site plan that was shown at Plan Commission on August 5th. The petitioner has removed the drive-through and has added some additional parking there, but you can see the new footprint as well. And also in this PUD is updated rendering. So the ones that were shown in council at first reading are again on the left, and more residential character, flagstone, wood, metal type of roofing is shown again on the right. That is again part of that, part of the PUD and what was shown in Plan Commission. I did want to provide a side-by-side comparison for clarity. So I have the Citizen State Bank, what are they proposing? First, the Drive Planning. Second, the CELO Commercial Impact District, and then the C1, all for context, showing that Citizen State Bank is meeting several of the Drive Planning commitments that were placed before them. Happy to go over any of that if you have questions. I would like to bring up Kevin Buckeye with Craig DeVault, if he had any additional comments.
Thank you, Ross. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Kevin Buckheit. I'm a land planner with the law firm Creek DeVault in their Carmel office here, representing Citizen State Bank for this rezone. Actually, it's a text amendment to the existing PUD. We have representatives from the bank, their engineering consultant, and from their real estate consultant as well, if you have questions of them. I'd like to just touch on some of the comments that we heard from council last month and then from the Plan Commission and public hearing comments last week, earlier this month actually. The two of the big items, the architecture and the drive-through, I think we've addressed. Hopefully you like the current take on the architecture. It is more gable residential oriented than that, and we have removed the drive-through from any consideration here. Regarding traffic, there was some discussion here last month about anticipated roundabout construction at 116th and 113th on Oleo Road. I'm not certain what the timing is of that or the impact it may have on the current site. But the Fishers Engineering Department did provide you with a memo. I think that was part of the packet. They reviewed full access, and according to their words, no concern about the approach time at 16th Street. And they don't anticipate that this use at this location with full access will have a negative impact on the traffic on 116th Street. Talked a little bit about the commercial low impact zone. Ross gave a pretty good review of that. It has never been applied to this site. The bank as a use at this location, some weren't thrilled with that opportunity, but I think we need to keep a little bit more broader perspective on what's able to be had at this site and generally in other similar situations here. The current UDO doesn't list bank on the permitted use table anywhere in Chapter 5 there in the use table. The UDO does not define bank in Chapter 12. It does list office as a use permitted in the C1 district, but again, it does not define office in Chapter 12. But in UDO section 5.4.4.A, it differentiates between different types of offices, including business services, professional services, financial services, and under that it does state bank, charitable institutions, counseling, government offices, radio and TV studios, and utility offices. So again, the office as it is a permitted use in the C1 district. A bank is a type of office under the UDO. Therefore, a bank is permitted in C1. Drive planning PUD in section A.4 lists that all uses permitted in the C1 commercial district shall be approved. So there could be a bank at this location already. More dentistry to our east, the PUD there, section 1.01, under permitted uses. All uses described in C1 commercial district are permitted. So an office would, a bank would be permitted there as well. To our west, the salon rezone ordinance, C1 commercial district uses, condition 4. Uses are limited to the following: office, medical office. So a bank could conceivably be located at that location. And again, the CLO commercial low impact district, UDO section 3.3.6.A, for the development of office type businesses, limited to office, medical office. So again, a bank could locate in a CLO district. In all of these situations, C1 district, dry planning PUD, more dentistry PUD, the salon rezone, and the C1 commercial low impact overlay district, a bank would be a permitted use there. From the Plan Commission, we heard about access and how that should be right in and right out only, and there was concern about traffic impact at rush hour, but I would refer you to your Fisher's Engineering memo on that matter. We won't go through that again. On building wall signage, there was a statement made during the public hearing that wall signage should not be permitted because it was not permitted at Moore Dentistry or at the salon. Ross explained very well how that's not quite the facts of the case. There is opportunity for wall signage, and frankly, more wall signage than we're requesting with the PUD before you. There was some question about whether this was a change in use, and for the reason I explained earlier about a bank being an office, this really isn't a change in use at all. It's a change in tenant and the type of office, but not a change in the use itself. The changes to Drive Planning PUD that are before you tonight for consideration are really relatively minor. We're changing the name from Drive Planning PUD to Citizen State Bank PUD. The front setback is reduced from 50 feet to 40 feet. The hours of operation, we've added Saturday hours from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. Lobby hours are a little bit shorter within that window. We've added minimum building wall signs of about 10 square feet on the east elevation and on the south elevation. And just to give you an idea of what 10 square feet approximately looks like, it's from my neck to the floor and adding about 6 inches from my shoulders. That's about 10 square feet. Parking space number was increased from 24 to 27. The site plans are really insignificant changes there. It's just a reconfiguration to address the architecture that the bank would like to place there and the removal of the earlier proposed drive-through. And then the building elevations we've already talked about. Citizen State Bank will own and occupy this site. They want to own and occupy this site. And based on everything that we've placed before you, we respectfully request approval of the PUD amendment that's before you on second and final reading. We'll stand by for any questions you may have.
Any questions?
No questions. I got some comments, obviously. And again, I was not at the Planning Commission meeting, nor was I at last month's Planning Commission. I am, however, have been involved in this area for the last 16 years. And regardless whether the things you say, there was commitments made by people about signage. Okay, I can tell you that's a fact, because I sat here and listened to them about it. I can also talk to you about the commitments made to no write-in, or excuse me, full access. I drive through that intersection a minimum of twice a day. It is a mess. It's going to be a bigger mess with the two roundabouts, which are going to happen next year at the same time. School traffic goes through there, school traffic goes out, they're not at peak hours. That still doesn't include the 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. rush hour going through there. It is insanity to me to put an able to take a left-hand turn into that deal. And I don't care whether it's a bank or any other kind of business. It has nothing to do with the business whatsoever. We have made commitments to the residents of that area for the last 16 years since we've done that Kroger. And I've been involved in almost every single one of them. I can tell you for a fact, I can get you there. The architecture looks great. Appreciate that. Getting rid of the drive-through, as I talked to your guys prior to that, getting rid of the drive-through, A-okay. I like it. Perfect. Okay? But I'm going to stand here and tell you that I am a no with a wall sign and a right or a full access turn. Got a roundabout, go flip through the roundabout, come in and drive in. That's the way it works. I've been prompting the mayor for 5 years now, putting another roundabout in at Hoosier Road and 116th, because I'm tired of giving people traffic lights on 116th Street. It's not safe to do. First of all, people won't drive the speed limit. I don't know where, is Ed still here? Ed, I don't know how many guys you guys pull over on 116th Street every day, but I imagine it's a bunch, just due to speed, okay? We make roads that are big and safe and they're good to drive on, and Ed will be the first one to tell you they drive as fast as they feel safe. Well, it's still not the speed limit. The problem is you get down in that particular area there, it's way too condensed. So I can get on board with this if you guys could go back to the commitment, take the wall sign off, and take a right in, right out only. And then I can get on board with it. Without it, I'm a no.
I would agree with Pete Peterson.
Any other comments?
As I mentioned, I also have concerns with the right in, the right out, and the signage, because I've been working with several of these residents for many years, and we made commitments to them, and I want to keep my commitments to those residents. And like Pete stated, if we can get there, I would be for this.
And what were your comments at Planning Commission? What those your 3 recommendations?
I had 3 recommendations. Well, one was the parking spaces. They've added a couple of parking spaces compared to what we had before. The other recommendation was to go into a right in, right out, and then sign limitations, as Pete had discussed.
Todd?
So basically, right, I want to make sure I understand. There's the 116th Street, a lane you'd have to stop a complete lane for somebody to turn left. Is that correct?
There's not much of a lane there, Todd. You can see
there-
where it is. You get a median that's right before there. So you're gonna have to pull in really quickly to get into that drive.
They would have to move the curb cut.
They'd have to cut the curb too if they wanted to give them more full access.
Yeah, it's just hard for me. I guess it's that gap right there.
Right, you can see the median sitting
Yeah,
there,
no, I
right?
see the median. I'm just
Right,
trying to
so
figure
they'd
out.
have to cut back the median, or you just get a little blip to kind of come in there to take that left-hand turn into there. Now, I remind you that roundabout's going in at 116th Street.
Right.
Right? That's what they're designed to do, is to direct safe traffic around high-traffic areas, which it's not an issue. Do your loop-de-loop and come back.
I'm concerned about that left. I love everything about this. Thank you for taking the drive-through out. Everything is perfect. I'm concerned about that left turn. And I don't want to say no to you guys. You're a great community partner. Like, this is a fantastic project. But to make a left-hand turn right there, you're going to have people sudden stop. And then that's going to create, I mean, we already have people going fast, but that's regardless. Even if you're going the speed limit, let's just say everybody's going the speed limit in a perfect world. They're still going to have to, people are going to come to sudden stops, especially because it'll be new. You know, it's going to be a new something there, and they're not used to it. And then if somebody tries to take that fast, like you're going to try to beat, you know, especially younger drivers, you're going to try to beat that traffic, we could have accidents there because they think they can make it, and they just don't have, you know, they're not. I don't want to say no, I don't want to vote no here on this project. That's the problem. I do not want to vote no, because this is a great project. It would be great for the community. You are great. The Citizens is a great partner with Fishers, just in general in our city. I want you there. I want this to work. Is there any way we can cut back that median, or is that just too much? Is that too much? Is there a way to create something there, or is that just too much?
Is it easier to move the curb cut over?
Let me ask this question. I'd be willing to make a motion to approve if we got rid of the wall signage and we got rid of the full access right and left-hand turn only. If the petitioner's willing to go ahead and do that, I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Got a motion before us to approve with a right in, right out, and changing of the signage, removal of the wall signage. And I have a second by Selena.
Do we need to have feedback from them first before we vote, or is that, I mean, I want to make sure.
Or we can approve it like that and they can come back to us.
Well, I think the question to be asked is, would they withdraw the petition under those circumstances or not?
That won't work for us.
That what?
That will not work.
That will not work, so.
Is there any way with the media, I'm not an engineer, so I don't know if there's any way to create more space there to get people, to get where they can get to a safe median to be able to make that turn, because that is just too sharp of a turn
So
to
can
make.
you talk to us a little bit more by why that wouldn't work for you? Can you just give us some insight?
On the signage, we really want to be on par with our neighbors. Our immediate neighbors both have full UDO access to wall signs. That's up to 32 square feet. We're asking for 20, broken up into two smaller profiles. And frankly, the one on the east side of the street is more for the parking lot itself, so that people can identify, yes, I've got the right place, I'm walking into the front door. That's sort of a business fairness aspect to this. On the right turn only access point, that's really untenable for a business use at this location. I've seen more often than I care to count people who just do what they want to regardless of whether they've got a raised pork chop meeting at that access point anyway. And then you run the risk of having a more hazardous situation where I'm making it look like I'm turning right out of there and then I wait for the traffic and do a U-turn right there. Regarding engineering within the landscape meeting there, anything is possible there, but that would be a city call as to whether that would be allowed. That would certainly extend the lane for folks to decel into and then wait to make a safe turn, left turn into the site. I'm just not sure that a left turn or right turn only access point, that is going to be operational the way the city would like.
I understand that. That's why I'm trying to figure out how to make the left-hand turn safe, because I just feel like it's not safe.
Again, so you got to also worry about the people on the south side of the street too, Todd, right? We got residents over there which got to worry about, they're taking the life in their own hands sometimes when they're turning in over there. I can tell you that because I watch it happen at least twice a day, as I said. There is no solution. That intersection is a horrible intersection. The county controls down there at Oleo Road and 116th. And again, there's a roundabout going in there. We saw the problems we ran into with the roundabout at 96th Street. I haven't seen the design for Oleo and 116th Street. I have concerns there, but again, that's not us, that's the county, right? You've got 3 schools up there, 4 schools, along with preschools and everything else that are going on through there. It is a giant mess.
Ross, can you put the site plan back up? Put the one up with the neighbor. Okay, just talking out loud, because I've done this in another city.
Who's Mayor Greenfield?
I made, when I was, since she brought it up, I made all the commercial connect each other. Is there any way that we could look at keeping the one driveway and connecting that to the bank?
Connecting the dentist's office
Right.
to the bank?
I was just thinking that, and I was like trying to figure out if there was a way, like, because the way their parking is right now, I don't know how many normally are there. It looks like there's quite a few there on that picture. Because they're going to be losing some parking obviously, if we were to do that. That could be a solution. Whether they'd work with that or want that, I don't know.
I'm just throwing it out because
No,
I made all the commercial connect, so you didn't have to keep going out to the main street, back in, out in the main street, back in. You could continue to 50 businesses and never get back on the main drag.
That's smart.
And that's just where I'm stuck. It's just, I feel like somebody's going to come to a sudden stop there, getting ready to turn left, because it's so tight. I mean, what other left-hand turns would we have like that? I can't think of any in the city where we'd have a left-hand turn that sharp.
It'll be tight back and behind me, but there's a stoplight right there, so that's going to give me access to turn left. When that light turns red, I can turn left with no problem.
Yeah, but you're coming, I mean, yes, but you would be stopping before.
Yeah.
Before.
There's no place to stop.
Before the stoplight.
Yeah, you can't, I mean, I get what you're saying, but you can't really rely on that.
It's overloaded now.
It's gonna be a roundabout.
I can tell you right now, it's overloaded.
I'm just throwing out an idea.
So we've got a motion to approve with the change of signage and.
They've already said
But they
that's
said
untenable for
they
them.
can't do that.
So I'll withdraw that motion. I'll just vote no unless they want to make those changes.
I mean, the signage is not, personally, for me, not an issue. It's just that it's the left turn. That's the only thing that's the issue. Beautiful concept. Thank you for taking, like I said, thank you for taking the drive-through out. Perfect business partner in the community. I think we're asking for trouble there.
So we've removed one motion. I guess I'll ask for a motion to approve as written, and whatever happens, we'll decide how we move forward. Entertain a motion
I think
from
you have a
someone.
few options here, Council Vice President. You can ask for a motion. If there's no motion, that's certainly, you can ask for someone to table it, like, hey, let's table this conversation, kick it back. We now understand the petitioner cannot live with a right in, right out, as it stands, and so you could kick it back to staff and say, okay, to Brad's point about brainstorming, are there any other possible viable options that live under the circumstances that you guys are talking about from a traffic perspective? You know, it's never probably a good idea to traffic engineer at a council meeting, you know, so we understand what your guys' limitations are and what they're willing to live with. We can either try to go back and figure out whether or not there are any other creative ideas. There may not be. And at that point, we know the project isn't viable.
I'd rather that than kill this whole, you know, I don't.
I'd rather kill it.
A motion to table?
Motion table.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, well,
We are
our commitment will be to work with the parameters you've set up, talk with the petitioner, and if there's a viable path forward, we'll bring it back, but if it doesn't meet the standards that you guys have set forward, then we know where the collective council is at this point.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Back to you, John.
Okay, we'll go to item 18, ordinance 0817.
Good evening, Ross Hillary, Community and Economic Development. Before you is 081726A, consideration of rezone of 3.51 acres. These is two parcels located right here on this map. That's why there's no address. These are newly created parcels. This text amendment is simply to add these two parcels into the existing yard phase 2 PUD, otherwise more commonly associated with the event center. We plan to have first reading here at Council, Plan Commission in September, and then back to Council in September. You guys should all be familiar with this now. This is the contrast development. They're adjacent to the event center, the extension of Maynard Lane, the recent public new road of USA Drive, and the parcels that we're talking about are these right here. So the intent tonight is to request a first reading to move these over from the existing Sunbeam PUD into the yard phase 2. Ryan Gallmeyer is here with Buckingham if you have any additional questions, but there's no additional presentation. I don't know if your mic is on, Counselor. 081726B, this is a new proposed PUD, Heart and Soul Community Campus PUD, a rezone request of 18.66 acres, 11616 East 126th Street. Heart and Soul Church proposes to create a community campus anchored by their sanctuary building with the intent of creating a third place through small-scale commercial and outdoor recreation. We are looking at first reading tonight. They will be required to host a neighborhood meeting in September, and then back to Plan Commission and Council in October. Here is the existing or the proposed site plan that is included in the PUD. I'll highlight a couple areas. The existing sanctuary building is there with the intent of additional expansion. They are proposing a gym and aftercare located there. A small chapel for their use, some additional sport fields, and then that small-scale commercial retail is located here. I'm happy to bring up Rick Lawrence with Nelson and Frankenberger to go into additional comments.
Good evening. For the record, my name is Rick Lawrence. I'm an attorney with Nelson and Frankenberger with offices in Carmel, Indiana. Tonight I'm here on behalf of Heart and Soul Church. With me is Natalie Hatfield, representative of the church. As Ross has summarized, I'm here to present a PUD called the Heart and Soul Community Campus PUD. Here is the site location. It runs along the south side of I-69, north of 126th Street, and immediately adjacent to the Lake Meadows retirement living facility. As Ross had showed, this is the entire 18-plus acre site, and with this exhibit, you'll see that Life Connection, also known as Heart and Soul Church, has a 5-acre parcel that they already own to the right of the line, and then to the left of the line is the portion that we would be removing from the Lake Meadows PUD and bringing into this PUD. As Ross had indicated, here is the concept plan. It incorporates the existing sanctuary building and expands it to provide a community facility that would be both based in the church's offerings, but also providing sports fields and other activities for the community, both here in Fishers and larger Hamilton County. It's somewhat anchored by a retail facility or items off of the 126th Street there, 3 buildings that are proposed to be neighborhood-type establishments such as a coffee house, cohabitation for working, rental space, and then perhaps a lunch-type diner also with the parking behind it off of 126th Street. The lawn there that's just north of the retail parking would be available for movies and other outdoor activities, and then to also facilitate the use of that retention pond that we would be reducing in size that already exists there, but leaving for both a facility for the use of this area, but then also Lake Meadows next door. You'll see that the sports fields are limited in nature. We've been asked to talk with the city's sports director to incorporate perhaps using these as overflow sites. As Ross indicated also, there's a gym and after-school area, a chapel, all connected with paths in this area, and an expanded parking lot area. To be transparent, the 2 big blobs that are underneath the expanded parking lot are also open to future sanctuary expansion later on, but that's not necessarily what the church is looking for at this time. We provided an extensive project description with our filing. We're happy to answer any questions you guys have tonight, or we're going to go, as Ross indicated, to Plan Commission in October, and we're going to have a neighborhood meeting for the neighbors immediately to our east sometime in September. And I get that notice out to you guys so you can attend if you'd like to.
No questions.
I
have a question.
Question?
Just a comment. I know, Pete, you're getting hungry, aren't you?
Yeah.
And I don't know if this changed, wasn't there an overlay along here?
There is I-69
I-69 overlay.
Our thought was a lot of what I-69 overlay kind of looked at wasn't particularly applicable to this area because of the wall that's there.
I just asked a question, I thought we had one. No? I thought we did.
Yes, the I-69 overlay is on here, so it require council action as part of this.
Just ask a question.
Another question, the after-school part, what is that, what would that be, like a daycare or?
After-school programming, not necessarily daycare, it'd be more towards kids probably late elementary school to junior high, give them some place to go to for some activities, some group building type functions. And then also here are some images of what's proposed to be there, not necessarily exactly, but the concept plan images.
That's very nice.
I had some questions. So the sports amenities, that's for the parishioners, or is it, you said something that they'd be open maybe
It's
to
a
have?
community facility, so anyone in Fishers can go to use these facilities. But what staff had asked us if there was any conjunction we could do with the city in case there's overflow for the fields across the street that might need to have a game or two in this location because of just excess capacity.
And then the retail is, what kind of retail? Like the church is involved in retail?
Not necessarily. This is going to cost a lot of money to develop, and the thought process was that the retail could provide a funding mechanism for the purchase of the property and then continuing ongoing funding of the property and establishment and activities that are going to be there. No, they don't have any commitments.
Do you have any other questions? I have another question. Do you have one? So with everything that you have proposed to go on this facility, do you have an idea of what the maximum like occupancy would be during the day on peak days? So it's looking like it's going to be like 7 days a week, lots of things going on.
I don't think we've come to an occupancy number. We did do some analysis on the number of employees that would be at the peak time, say like a Saturday afternoon, probably be about 75 to 100 employees to take care of all the activities that would be going on, which is one reason that they're expanding the parking lot. We've been working with engineering to make sure that the traffic flow would be adequate within the site and then connecting to 126th Street also.
Perfect. And then in your plan, let's see, on page 4, number 4, section 6.7.4, buffer yards shall not apply.
Which one did you say?
Page 4, number 4, section 6.7.4, buffer yards shall not apply. So you won't do any buffering between the area and the neighbors?
So the green area that you see along the neighbors right there, that's an existing tree stand. They want to try to preserve as many of the trees as possible. We can put in language that dictates that rather than saying no buffer yard will apply. That wasn't necessarily the intent. The intent was just not to create additional buffers that weren't already there, really.
I guess it will come up with your community meeting. Thank you.
First reading.
Thank you.
Since the next 6 items are voluntary annexations, final readings, I don't think we need presentation by staff here for the recommendation. Okay, so I'm going to make a motion. You guys need one?
I do need a public hearing on 26. Yep.
Motion by Pete, second by John. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion to approve item 21.
Second.
Motion by Pete, second by Selena. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Motion to approve item 22.
Motion by Pete, second by John for 22. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Motion to approve item 23.
Second.
Motion by Pete, second by Selena. All those in favor?
Aye. Motion to approve 24.
Second.
Motion by Pete, second by John. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Lastly, item 25, motion to approve.
Second.
25, motion approved by Pete, second by Bettina.
No, it's Selena.
Selena. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
There you go, Ross.
Item 26 is a voluntary annexation, 15106 East 136th Street, 0.78 acres. There's a new adjacent subdivision that's able to provide sewer. This is first reading, and there is a public hearing required.
Okay, any questions from council?
The only question I have, Ross, is always when we're doing these, what is the purpose for the voluntary annexation? Why do they want to do it?
Additional tax revenue for the city.
I like that. I didn't know if they had plans for the property, if they wanted to, put up a circus there, what they wanted to do.
It's a single-family residential home. They continue to reside there with the adjacent Abbott Commons opportunity to connect to sewer currently on septic.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, I'll now, any other questions from council? I'll open ordinance 081726C for public hearing. Anyone wish to speak? Please come to the podium and you get 3 minutes. State your name and address for the record.
Doug Allman, Fall Creek Township trustee.
Just made the list, Doug.
Pardon?
Nothing.
Sorry, Pete. I want to thank the mayor and Chief Ragsdale for going out to Luxhaven there. That was a good thing, and built a lot of goodwill, as well as, I think, got city up to
So
speed
Doug,
on-
is this on the ordinance or for the end of the meeting?
I'm sorry, I jumped.
You and I really put you in unless we're not paying attention, Doug. So if there's no
All
other,
right. Seeing no other, I will close the public hearing,
and I'll give a first reading.
and we'll have first reading. Any new or unfinished business? All right, now I'll open it up for.
There you go.
Do we discount
We
the?
need to change the clock.
It's been long, No, I started to think, Mayor Fadness and Chief Ragsdale for going out to Luxhaven, and a lot of goodwill, and the residents have let me know that. I was at a meeting today, and since we have the press here as well as you and the mayor, and I talked to Elliot about this earlier in the day. There is a number, and 317-645-3261. I'll repeat that again, 317-645-3261. That is a one-stop number here for all of Hamilton County that goes to Hamilton County Emergency Management. And what they envision is that people affected by flooding, regardless of what their needs are, they call that number and register with them. And I think even those who, like they're doing it themselves, they're taking care of things themselves. We see a lot of that going on in Luxhaven. The city put dumpsters down there for them today, and they're already at work filling those dumpsters. And they will take care of themselves as well as their neighbors, but there's going to be other things. But I think what I would really recommend people affected by flooding call is because there's possible FEMA dollars and federal dollars coming in. I know that some of those residents down there do not have insurance. A lot of them have. A lot of them are. They've managed this for years. That's why when I started getting calls the other night, I talked to the mayor. Because they had not seen it. I was actually physically down there earlier in the day. Saw the water come up fast. I saw the water come up fast at our park. So I reached out to the mayor. But of those residents and for the press, I think, there's this one-stop shop mentality with the county. But I will tell you that it's going to be, I think, a slow process. And I think the mayor's reaction and our reaction are way ahead of the curve. We put people up in motels. They're talking about putting everybody from the county up into a singular motel. I think that process is going to be slower. We still are in the early stages of this. The fairgrounds has been collecting items that people are donating, both food and cleaning supplies. They got a big room up there that's full. I mean, the community outpouring has been incredible. We are collecting, as well as Delaware and other trustees are collecting cleaning supplies. We've already had food. Nobody is really needing food, but the community has this wanting to help thing. And so we've got a lot of that taken care of, but in terms of the long-term...
10 seconds, Doug.
Pardon?
Sorry, 10 seconds.
Well, I'm just saying that if anything, that 317-645-3261 is important to get that out there. And I would encourage Elliot, the mayor, to get that out there, as well as contact emergency management. So,
thank you. Thanks, Doug. Thank you very much.
Good to see you.
Any other public comment?
Make a motion to adjourn.
I have a motion by Pete, second by John. We are adjourned.